Because we have a couple other meetings going on right now, I'll record this just in case something intelligent is said, although I don't promise. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about profitability. Profitability. Because making money is one thing, but profitability is another thing. Okay, so we're going to talk about being profitable. All right, so here's what I want to start out with something though. Okay, I want to start out with something because in order to understand profit, we need to know how much money that we want to make and we need to know our hourly rate. Did you know that even though you're an independent contractor, you have an hourly rate? You do. All right. So we're going to figure out your hourly rate. Now I'm going to apologize. This is going to require math. So, I'm sorry. But we're going to do it. All right. So here's what I want you to write down. I want you to write down your income goal for the next 12 months. You can either write down your income goal for the next 12 months or for 2024, whatever you prefer. Okay. What is your income goal? Okay. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do simple math, $120,000, right? Just because the math works out really nice at $10,000 a month. So what is your income goal for the next 12 months or for 2024? So then what I want you to write down next are how many hours are you going to work in that time frame? So here's the way that you would try to calculate that is estimate how many weeks you're going to work in the next 12 months. So most people work anywhere from 42 to 44, but you know your schedule different. So you might say, I'm going to work 40 weeks. I'm going to work 35. I'm going to work 46. Okay. Don't put at the very, very max 48. Okay. Don't put nobody works 52 and nobody works 50. Okay. So, and then multiply that number by however many hours you work per week. So let me do this real quick. Let me actually share my screen so you can actually see what this is because this is okay. So you're going to set your income goal and then work hours available. So let's say you're going to work 42 weeks at 40 hours. That's 1,680 hours. Okay. So how many weeks you work times however many hours, that's where you get this number. So then how do you calculate your hourly rate? You're going to take whatever you put for income divided by whatever you put for hours, and that's your hourly rate. So let's say that your income was again $120,000 divided by 1,680 means your hourly rate is 71.43. Everybody with me so far? Okay, so your income goal for the next 12 months or 2024, how many hours are you going to work so you can estimate, number of weeks worked times how many hours, and then divide those two numbers. Okay. So now you've figured out your hourly rate. So show of hands, how many of you make more money per hour than you thought you did? Okay. Show of hands. How many of you, based on your hourly rate, would make more at McDonald's? My hourly rate is $11.25. That is against the law in the state of California. In the state of California. Okay. You don't have to share your numbers, but was anybody surprised at their number? Again, you don't have to share it. Okay. But that's your hourly rate. So now that you know your hourly rate, how much you can understand how much money you're losing when you decide not to work that day. So take that hourly rate, multiply it by 8. That's your daily rate. So now we're getting fun because now that number might be 500, $600,000. So the next time somebody says, "Hey, can you take the day off and let's go do this?" Like, no problem. Give me $1,000 because that's how much money I'm losing today, and then I'll go with you. Okay. Or the next time somebody distracts you at work, you're prospecting and you say, "Oh, well, I get distracted." Well, what do you get distracted on? Well, I get distracted by people coming up and asking me questions. Okay, great. So when you're prospecting, the next time somebody distracts you, say, "Hey, guess what? My hourly rate is $71. You just cost me 71 bucks." So going forward, when I have my sign up that says I'm prospecting, can you please just let me prospect? Okay. You need to know your hourly rate because you need to know how much money is you're losing by distractions. You need to know how much money you're losing when you decide not to work that day. You need to know how much money you're losing when you decide not to put in a full effort. Okay. So it's important to know that. But it's also important to know that because you need to know how much your time is worth. Do we have people, clients in our lives that take up way more time than they should? Everybody say yes, because if you say no, then that just means you're not talking to anybody. Okay. Yes. So now you know your hourly rate. So when you have clients that you feel are taking up a lot of your time or asking you for things that take up a lot of your time, you need to say, "Gosh, you know what? This is something that's going to take me 4 or 5 hours to do. My hourly rate is, $80 an hour. I mean, that's like 400 bucks. Do I really want to spend 400 bucks on this particular question, on this particular task?" And the answer might be yes or no. Because it might be like, yeah, I mean, this is a question that could get me $10,000. But it's, you know what, they're not gonna buy a house. They're not interested in selling their house. They're just having me run numbers just to run numbers. I'm not gonna spend 4 hours on it. I'm gonna give how much is my home worth? Are you interested in selling? No, go to Zillow. I don't know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I would say somewhere around 680. Well, where'd you get that number? Don't worry about it. Okay. You got to know. You got to know. So, which brings me to my first part of being profitable. You need to do what's called a time motion study. Now that you know your hourly rate and you know your daily rate and you know how much money your each day is costing you and every activity is costing you, you need to do a time motion study. Start with 1 hour. Every hour, write down what you accomplished. Do this for at least 1 week, but ideally two. Every hour of the day, write down what you accomplished for the previous hour, your work day. Okay. You don't need to do a time motion study in your personal life unless, your spouse asks you to, but your work day. So, well, I start my workday 8 o'clock. Okay, great. Then at 9 o'clock, what'd you accomplish from 8 to 9? And then at 10 o'clock, what'd you accomplish from 9 to 10? 11 o'clock, what'd you accomplish 10 to 11? So do that every day, every working day for at least 1 week, ideally two, so you can see what you're accomplishing every hour. Now, here's the thing. You have to be specific, meaning that don't say, "Well, I from 11 o'clock. Well, what'd you do from 10 to 11? Oh, I prospected." That's not good enough. How many contacts did you make? Well, I made 3 contacts. Guess what? You didn't prospect for an hour. Okay. Well, Robert, I prospected from 10 to 11. I made 3 contacts that hour. Then you didn't prospect for 1 hour. Sorry. There were distractions in the way. So you be specific with what you're doing with that time because now we're going to figure out where is the time that's being wasted? Where are you not being efficient with your time? Because that's money that we just figured out your hourly rate. That's money that could be done doing something else. Okay. And then if you get really good at the time motion study, do it every 15 minutes. But only do that for like a day or two. Don't do that for an entire week. Do that for a day or two. We'll break it down every 15 minutes to see what you accomplish. Because did you know that 15 minutes a day over the course of 210 days is 55 hours? I'm sorry, 220 days. The average agent works 220 days. 15 minutes a day at 220 days is 55 hours. Meaning that if you do a time motion study and you find that you're wasting 15 minutes a day over the course of the year, that's 55 hours that are out the window. That's over a week's work. What could you accomplish in 55 hours if you had 55 hours back in your life, your work life? Could you make more contacts? Could you get better at your scripts? And that's just 15 minutes. Anyone here think that there's multiple 15 minutes segments in their schedule that probably need to be worked on?
Yeah.
Oh, now we're getting to some real time. And this is not meant to be like a, well, yeah, you're right. This is meant to, we're talking about profit here. Okay. We got to talk about profit and understand profit. We got to start with what our hourly rate is and how important every single part of our day is. Now, nobody's perfect. Okay. We all have days and times where we're not our best. That's just the way it goes. As a matter of fact, anyone here ever have days where they're at work, but they're not really at work? Everybody raise your hand. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay. That's why you get that in your schedule. When we put together schedules for people and say, well, how many days are you going to work? Well, you take out a couple weeks for seminars, you take out a couple weeks for vacations, and you take out a couple weeks because there's probably going to be some days where you're supposed to go to work and you're not really going to work. Human nature. So you incorporate that in your schedule. That's why we typically say when you're looking at a business plan, it's usually somewhere 42, 43, 44 total weeks worked because of all that other stuff that we talked about. All right, makes sense. Questions at all so far on hourly rate? All right, good stuff. Well, hopefully that's a very, very important thing. So make sure you understand that. So we're not going to go through that. I have this whole exercise on the cost of a bad listing. That's a whole class that requires a whole lot of math. And I don't want to do that to you today. So we'll do that another day. So instead, here's what I wrote down. I wrote down a bunch of points on how to be more profitable. A bunch of points on how to be more profitable. Some of this stuff is not rocket science or life changing to where you haven't heard it before, but some of it might be stuff that you haven't heard before, and some of it might be things that are just good reminders. So they're not written in a particular order of importance, but here's how to be more profitable in your business. I wrote down number one, run your business like a business. You want to be more profitable as a real estate agent, you have to run your business like a business. Replace the term independent contractor with chief executive officer. Are you an well, I'm a real estate agent, I'm an independent contractor. No, you're not. You're a chief executive officer of Robert Hertel Incorporated. Because does the term independent contractor come with a positive or negative thought process to it?
Normally negative.
Normally negative. Oh, you're an independent contractor. Great. So you can do whatever you want. Make your own schedule, go to work whenever you want. You know, you're an independent contractor. You do whatever you want. That's not the way you want to run your business. That's not how a successful real estate agent runs their business. They run their business like an actual business. They have a set schedule. There's a set time that they're supposed to be at work every day. There's a set time that they end their day. They have certain tasks that they have to do every single day, just like an employee would of any other business, just like a CEO would of their business. So treat your business like an actual business. Don't be an independent contractor, be a CEO. It's one of the most important things you can do as a real estate agent to be more profitable is eliminate that independent contractor mentality and replace it with a CEO mentality. Okay, this is your business. This is your life. I wrote down number two on being more profitable. This is straight out of the Mike Ferry handbook. Much more profitable to call people than to spend money hoping they call you. Okay. So we're talking about profit. Now I understand purchasing leads. Probably should have scouted this office where I was going to stand before I started doing this class because there's lights above me, but I'm still. Let's just assume I've just got tan over the weekend. It's nice out. What the hell? Okay. When you get an online lead, what do you typically have to pay when an online lead closes?
You know,
What is it?
insurance.
Well, you have to pay insurance, but what else do you what do you have to give
A,
back?
a referral
Uh,
fee.
A referral fee. You have to pay a referral fee when you close an online lead. Now, are those referral fees 2 to 3%? No,
Exactly.
no. They're 30, 35, 40%. Now, I'm not telling you not to do that, okay? Because we have a lot of people, almost everybody is involved in some sort of online leads, whether it be purchasing leads or getting, Redfin leads or Zillow Flex leads. So almost everyone's involved in that in some capacity. Okay. So I'm not telling you don't do it. But we're talking from a profit standpoint. If the bulk of your business is coming from that, where you're purchasing leads and then closing those deals, you're giving back 30, 40% every time. As opposed to if you get on the phone and generate the lead yourself, you don't have to give any of that money back. Okay. So from a sheer profit standpoint, you want to control the leads. Okay. That's what you want to think of. I want to control the leads because that's where I'm going to increase my profit. Because think about it. If you're giving away the average online lead is about 35%. So technically, every fourth deal you're doing for free, if you think about it. Because you close one deal, you give away 35%. You close second deal, you gave away another 35%. You close your third deal, you give away 30. So you've now given away 100% total, which means the fourth deal you're technically doing for free. Okay. So from a profit standpoint, always the online leads are bonus, but I've got to go generate my own leads. I want to control my leads. I want to be in control of that. Okay. So underneath that point, I wrote down if you want to be more profitable, there should never be an online lead in your neighborhood. There should never be an online lead in your neighborhood. If you simply controlled all the leads in your own neighborhood, you would probably make a really good living in real estate. If you just controlled all the leads in your neighborhood. But instead, what happens is people that are in your neighborhood, and you might not even know it, but they go online and they become online leads. And then they get phone calls from other agents to buy or sell. Control all the leads in your neighborhood. You'll be more profitable. All right, I wrote down number 3 on how to be more profitable. Tell the seller the truth because expireds are expensive. Tell the seller the truth because expireds are expensive. Hey, Bianca. Because now you know your hourly rate. So if we were going to figure out how much an expired listing actually cost you, oh, baby. it it would give some of you heart palpitations. If you figured out your hourly rate and then figured out how much money an expired listing costs you, because an expired listing is a lot of time. You had to spend time going on the appointment. You had to spend time marketing the property. You have to spend time calling the seller. You have to spend for the photography. You have to you have to do all these things go into it for 2, 3 months to get $0. Very expensive. So tell the seller the truth because expireds are expensive. How you be more profitable. Which means that you might have to do what from a seller? Seller doesn't want to be realistic. What might you have to do at a listing appointment?
Walk away.
Might have to walk away. Yep,
Walk
Caesar,
and
you're right.
work on your skills after that.
And work on your skills. There you go. You want to be more profitable? You might have to walk away from some listings. Okay. Don't let one bad listing cost you 3 more. You spend so much time on a bad listing, so much time, effort, and energy on something that doesn't sell, you lose some of the other leads in the way. All right, number 4, how to be more profitable. Have a schedule and stick to it. Have a schedule and stick to it. Nobody likes that one, so we'll go to number 5. But this relates to point 1. You will never, ever, 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 ever create a schedule and stick to it if you think you're an independent contractor. It'll never happen. So this again goes back to number 1, run your business like a business. If you think like an independent contractor, don't even try to create a schedule. Don't pretend you're going to follow it. You won't. But if you think I'm not an independent contractor, that is out of my vocabulary. I am a chief executive officer of Robert Hertel Incorporated. Use your name. Okay. I mean, you could use Rubbertel Incorporated and pay me a fee if you want to. But use your name. Then and only then will you be able to follow a schedule, create a schedule and stick to it. Okay. But you want to be more profitable. That's it. So Valerie Caro says this: the tighter your schedule, the more freedom you have. The tighter your schedule, the more freedom you have. So you want to make more profit, then you need more freedom. You need more time to operate on whatever else you want to do. You got to do the tighter your schedule, the more you'll be able to do that. So, couple quick things on schedule, on making in terms of profit. Number one, the morning starts when?
The night before.
The night
The night before.
before. There you go. Morning starts the night before. So the night before, get everything ready for the next day. You know, what outfit am I wearing? I have my suits laid out for the entire week. Okay. So I now that goes to thought fatigue, which is a whole other class I've done before. Maybe we'll bring it back. Okay. It's more science stuff. Okay. But I get up and run, boom, there's my suit. What shirt, what tie? What am I eating for breakfast? Pretty easy because I have a smoothie every morning. You know, what am I taking for lunch? What am I tasking? So and the night before, I'm set. So when I get up in the morning, I already know what office I'm going to be at. I already know what my schedule is for the day. I'm good. Okay. So the morning starts the night before. When is my energy and motivation typically at the highest? Which part of the day?
The morning.
The morning. That's probably when I should do my most important and hardest task. Now, as a chief executive officer, real estate agent, what is the most hardest task of the day? Don't lie to me, damn it. What is it?
Prospective.
Prospecting.
Prospecting. So therefore, this is why we talk about prospecting in the morning. My energy and motivation is at the highest. So let me do my most important and hardest task in the morning. Let me get my prospecting done. Okay. I wrote down here, start every day at zero. You want to be more profitable, start every day at zero. Okay. Because what kills profitability is complacency. And what creates complacency is when you have a listing, you have an escrow. And in our marketplace, that typically equals a lot of money. Although sometimes I get some, now that we have offices in a lot of different places, I get some land deals that God bless you and your $4.25 that you're going to get paid on it. I'm not talking about, I mean, we have land deals where you actually make real money, but we got some land deals that are like a couple grand. I'm like, man. But you got to start every day at zero because in order to be profitable, you have to keep the profit going. Okay. Profitability is not a one day thing, it's an everyday thing. So I don't care how many listings you have, I don't care how many escrows you have. Every day you have to wake up with a mindset that you have nothing. And if you start every day with that mentality at zero, the pipeline will continue to be full, which means the profitability will continue to be consistent and not a every so often type of thing. Okay, so you have to start every day at zero. Oh, I like what Tony Smith said one time. He said, every day you wake up, you're unemployed. And what the only way you can get a job is to find someone that's looking to buy or sell real estate. But you wake up, you're unemployed. So think about that. All right. Next point I wrote down on being more profitable. This one's a little long, so I'll read it a couple times. And it's very complicated. This is a long, complicated sentence. So I'll read it twice. Always look for where you create the highest level of profit and do more of that. Also look for where you create the lowest level of profit and do less of that. Told you, it's very complicated. If you want to be more profitable, you have to know what creates more profit for you and then do more of that, and what creates less profit and do less of that. Okay. So you take a company like Coca-Cola, for example. Do you notice over the years, if you pay attention, been like 8 different versions of Diet Coke? There's Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Coke -0, okay? Coke, sugar-free Coke. There's always a variety of different Diet Cokes and then just one main Coke. And the reason they do that is they realize our highest level of profitability is just the straight Coke product. So we push that like crazy. And then we don't get a lot from the Diet Coke. So we do a little bit less of that and we try something else different to see if we can make a few bucks on it. Okay. But they don't over push Diet Coke. It's always the main thing. And then they just try to fix whatever they can on the diet. It's the same thing on yours. Where in your business are you the most profitable? And are you spending your time on things that you're most profitable? So let me give you an example. Let's say that you track your business and you go, well, I closed outside of my database because database is typically more for the phone. But non-database deals, Robert, I closed 8 in the last 12 months. And I got 6 of them from door knocking and 2 from the phones. Wow, good for you. So I'm assuming you spend 80% of your time on the doors. Nope, I usually spend about 80% of my time on the phones because it's hot outside. Okay. So so you spend 20% of the time on 80% of your business. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? If you're profitable on the doors, do more of that. And if you're not, and then do less of something else. Or what about the sources? You know what? I'll do something different today. I'll do something different today because I always beat up on the expireds. So we'll go to for sale by owners. Well, I call all the for sale by owners. Okay. Make sure I hit all the for sale by owners. How many for sale by owners have you closed in the last 12 months? None. Why are you spending time with them? Okay. Well, I was told you should call all the for sale by owners. Okay. Good for you. How's that going? All right. So go where you're most profitable and do more of that. Find out where you're least profitable, do less of that. Okay. It's one of the simplest rules on profitability, but you have to be honest with yourself about it. Okay. Because here's what's really important about profitability. Everyone's profitability is different. So don't base your business on somebody else's profitability. Well, I heard this person hammers the expireds all day. Okay, that's their profitability. What's your profitability? Well, all my business comes from my database. Great. Maybe you should call them more. You do pop buys. Okay. Or you could be one of those person. Well, no, I don't get anything from doing just listed, just sold, but I do get a bunch of deals from expireds. Great, then go do more expireds.
But that's okay.
Expand your expired reach. Okay. All right, I wrote down here next on profitability. This is a biggie. Stop looking for magic bullets. Stop looking for magic bullets.
Repeat that, Robert.
Stop looking for magic bullets. So here's what I wrote down. The least profitable thing you can do is spending time trying to find ways to be profitable without working. The least profitable thing you can do is spending time trying to find ways to be profitable without working. It's the least profitable thing you can do. You are in the talk to people business. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yes, technology is great. Yes, there's a variety of different avenues that you can communicate with people. But do you think more deals are created and done through verbal conversation or through digital conversation?
Verbal.
This is a time for you to participate in said verbal portion. Thank you, Tyrone.
Verbal.
Verbal. So what's the ratio of your verbal communication versus digital? Because I hear this all the time. Well, I send out a lot of text messages. I mean, I send out text messages too. But if I'm trying to find a deal, more deals are probably created from verbal conversations than digital. I keep in touch with my database through social media. Okay, great. Well, 1% of transactions nationally, according to NAR studies, are from from people who found their agent on social media. So you have to understand, while all those are important and all those can be useful, you're in the talk to people business from verbal standpoint. Okay, so stop looking for the magic bullets, just face the reality of the situation. Okay, number 7.
Do you find,
Right.
Robert, that people feel that they're getting that personal attention going along with what you're saying there?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, for me personally, and maybe I'm old school. I am old school. But if I'm in the middle of a transaction, like if we're selling a house, right? If we're selling a house, because wherever we sell a house, we always use it. We have agents that are local to those areas and we use them. They know, don't text me. Don't text me the appraisal value. Call me and tell me about the appraisal. Don't text me about what's going on with contingencies. Call me. I don't want your text message. This is important. Call me. Right. So that's me, because I get the feeling like a text is okay if like it's just something small. Okay. You're saying something small to me. That's fine. But if it's something that's going to take a little bit of a back and forth, I'm not going to send a text message. Like if it's a one response, yes or no, fine. But don't, hey, what's your schedule like? We can set up the appraisal. Well, I don't know, maybe I could do Monday. Well, they have Tuesday between, like this is too long. Just call me. Okay. Hey, are you thinking about buying a house? Yeah, we've been thinking about it. Okay, great. What area are we thinking about buying? Like, just get me on the phone. Okay. So we've got a verbal, but yes, it's more personal. Okay. Now I know you're with me on this. Okay, number 7. Number 7 is one of those moments where people say Robert's not very nice. Okay. I don't know where people get that from. But I don't know any other way to say this. So in terms of profitability, I wrote down, stop multitasking, you suck at it. Oh, Robert's being mean again. Stop multitasking, you suck at it. Okay. 95% of you are doing that right now, but that's okay. All right. Here's how I know. Okay. We had someone come out years ago. I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. I lose track of time. Anyone ever read the book Fanatical Prospecting, Jeb Blunt, or know who Jeb Blunt is? Melinda, a couple of you, Shell, great. So we had him come out and speak to us a few years back. And he did this little test. So he had everyone get out a piece of paper and he said, okay, write down the numbers 1 through 26 as fast as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the first person raised their hand that was finished, and they were done in like 12. I forget the exact time. It was like 12 seconds. Okay. Now I want you to write down A to Z, the alphabet. There's 26 letters. Okay. A, B, C, D, as fast as you can. A, B, C. Someone raised their hand, first person, they were done in like 15 seconds. Like, okay, so you could write. Fastest person wrote down 1 through 26 in 12 seconds, A through Z in 15 seconds. Okay, so now here's what I want you to do. I want you to write the number and then the letter that corresponds to. So 1, A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, D, right? And do that, and then let's see who's the fastest. And then finally raise their hands, and it was like 46 seconds or something like that. And his point was, you're not any good at multitasking. You were able to do 1 through 26 in 12 seconds. You were able to do A through Z in 15 seconds, which means it would have taken you 27 seconds to do that separately, but you tried to do them together and it took you 45, twice the amount of time. Okay. So it was stop multitasking. Just do one at a time. You'll get through more things done in a day. Okay? You'll be more profitable and productive in the day if you just one thing at a time instead of multitasking. So if you want to be more profitable, stop multitasking and just do one thing at a time. Get that done and then move on to the next. Okay. So I wrote down here on being profitable. Okay, we're going to talk about money for a couple minutes here. Pay yourself first. You want to be more profitable, pay yourself first. Typically, when people get a commission check, when do they pay themselves? When do most people pay themselves when they get a commission check?
Last.
Last. Oh, this goes to the bills, and this goes to this, and this goes to this. And then if there's some money left over, then I get it. What a way to live. Why would you want to be more profitable if you always get the crap end of things? Okay. I understand bills need to be paid. I'm not telling you not to pay your bills, but you need to develop a mindset that when money comes in, you're paying yourself first. Okay. You got to pay yourself a salary, and then you can put money for taxes and stuff like that. But if you're going to put money to taxes first and bills first, you're not going to have any motivation to go to work and do it again. I made $20,000 on this deal, and by the time I got done paying everybody, I ended up with 45 cents. Hey, you gonna go prospect tomorrow? Why? Why would I go prospect tomorrow? You know how many times I had to get rejected 180 times for this check. Okay, pay yourself first. I wrote down here next. Once a week, visit your money. Once a week, visit your money. So when I mean visit your money, go into your bank accounts. Take a look for a variety of reasons. One, obviously, fraud is so rampant these days. You want to make sure that no one's stealing your money. But two, anyone ever been in a position in life where you just couldn't understand why your bank account was not going up? Okay. Just me. Because I remember those days. I remember checks going in, but then going, why is my bank account never getting any higher? And if you're not visiting your money, you don't really know. When you go visit your money every week, you start to realize, like, man, $87 for DoorDash. What the hell did we eat? Chicken fingers. But there's, $45 in fees. All right. How many times did we do that last week? Oh, okay. Maybe we should start making that. How much money am I spending on lunch every day? Like going out to lunch every day? Okay. So when you're visiting your money, you can start to see those kind of things that really pop up often, and then you can start to make some adjustments to it so you are making more money. Because anyone here have or had little kids? Did you do the thing where you had like them stand up against the wall and you do the pencil to see if they've gotten taller? You should have that same thing for your bank account. I remember when you were just this big. Yeah, I remember. And look at then you got to hear. Oh my God, like almost like a full grown adult. You should have the same game for your bank account, right? But if you're not visiting your money, you don't know what your bank account is doing. You don't know if it's growing. You don't know if it's generating interest. You don't know if people are stealing from you. You have no idea what's going on. You want to be more profitable, visit your money once a week, including your investments. Okay? If you have any investments in the stocks or things along those lines, make sure you're monitoring all that stuff. All right, very good. So I wrote down here next on being more profitable. Learn personality styles. Want to be more profitable, learn the personality styles. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I did 2 classes on it last week, but learn the personality styles if you want to be more profitable. Because the basic from a profitability standpoint, by learning the personality styles, you could do the same amount of work, the same amount of appointments, but double or triple your income. So you could double or triple your income without doing any more work or appointments, just by learning people's personality styles. So from a profitability standpoint, it's pretty important. I wrote down here next on increasing profitability. Always look to see how you can upgrade your customer service. Always look to how you can upgrade your customer service. Because the most profitable transaction you can have is when somebody calls you and wants to do a transaction with you. It's the most profitable transaction. You didn't spend any money on it. I didn't have to buy the lead. I didn't even really spend time prospecting. Okay. I don't really have much competition. It's kind of a come list me or come help me buy type of call. It's from a time perspective and a money perspective, it's the most profitable transaction. They're probably going to go with your commission. It's the most profitable transaction you can have. But can you get those types of transactions if you don't have A+ level customer service? No, you're always going to be on the hunt. Now you're always going to be on the hunt anyways, but you want those calls. So you want to increase profitability. You have to increase the number of people that want to work with you again or want to refer you business. You need to provide excellent customer service. There's real estate agents on every corner. So you need to make sure that you're providing high level customer service. And even if you think you're providing great customer service, always look to see how you can do a little bit more because the world is always changing. Okay. All right. I wrote down here next. If you want to increase profitability, a couple more points. I have more points, but I'm just going to hit a couple more and then we'll maybe talk about this another day. You want to increase your profitability. Every deal you get should generate at least one more deal. One of the easiest ways to increase your profitability is generate business from your business. So here would be a fun game to play for some of you. I want you to go back and look at all the listings you've had in the last 12 months and ask yourself, how many deals did I get from those listings? And if you're not generating an average of one per deal, then you got work to do. So what I mean by that is you get a listing, before that listing is done, you should have another listing or another buyer deal. It could be a double ender, right? Like Armin just talked about, he double ending that deal. It could be another listing from the neighborhood. It could be a buyer that came to an open house and maybe they didn't buy that one, but you helped them buy another one. But you need to generate one more deal for every listing you have. Now I'm going to give you a couple thoughts on that, and then we'll wrap up from there. I'll finish this class maybe another day because I got like 9 or 10 more points. But I want you to think about this. Okay, so let me tell you the story. I've told this story before, but I'll say it again. We'll be done here in a couple minutes on this point. But this is a really important point. I had an agent call me who said, "Hey, my Mike Ferry coach." It's the beginning of the year. Said my Mike Ferry coach wants me to do 80 transactions this year, but I don't know how. Now, first of all, it's pretty nice when instead of asking their Mike Ferry coach, they call me. I wish they would pay me the money instead of them, but that's a different story. But they said my Mike Ferry coach wants me to do 80 transactions. I don't know how to do it, so I'm calling you. I said, okay. I said, and long story short, I said, well, how many listings did you take last year? And they said 40. I said, okay, well, why don't you just take 40 listings again, get one more transaction from each one? There's 80. I said, thank you for your time. And whoa, what do you mean? I said, if you're going to take 40 listings, just generate one more deal from each of those listings. That's 40 transactions. And there's your 80. You're done. And it's that simple sometimes to just double your business just doing that. That's what makes it more profitable. So, but let me tell you how this works, because some of you are like, well, Robert, how do you generate one more deal for every listing? I mean, I make my just listed calls to make this. Okay, so we're going to talk about this for just a minute. If I take a listing and I price it correctly, is it going to sell? Okay, which means the listing's already sold. At the listing appointment, the listing is already sold. It's over. Your only job on that listing at this point is just to negotiate the terms. The listing is sold. So when you call around the listing, doing just listed calls, or you promote the listing to your database, are you promoting the listing because you're promoting that listing? Or are you using that listing as just an intro to find another deal? Because how many times have you had a listing where the buyer came from a just listed call? For some of you that have done a lot of listings in your career, probably maybe never. Okay. So you have to switch the mindset when you have a listing and it's priced to sell, it's already sold. I'm now just using this listing essentially as an intro to create conversation to generate more leads. So even if I'm doing a just listed call, I'm not trying to sell the listing. We just listed a property, Main Street, 123 Main Street, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I'm just doing this intro just because it's just warm. I really don't care though, because the listing's already sold. But I'm figuring out, who do you know that's looking to buy your house? What about you? Are you thinking about taking advantage of this? I'm trying to generate leads
Or you could use it
instead
for
of
open houses, right? To do
use
more
it for
open
open house.
houses.
Yeah, do more open houses, right? Which should generate buyers, which will then create leads for you. And I have a class coming up next month on open house tips on how to convert more of those. But you just have to switch the mentality, right? So first of all, you have to create the mentality that every listing is going to generate one more transaction. Okay. And if I walk away from a good listing without one more deal, then I get a B grade, but I don't get an A grade because I should generate it. So you have to create that mentality. And then two, when you're pitching the listing, it's already sold. So you're really only using the listing as a warm intro to get more leads. That makes sense to everybody? And if you create that type of mentality, you'll generate more leads. All right. All right. Good stuff. All right. Questions on any of the things we talked about?
Yeah, what was number 6?
It's a great question, Tyrone. Number 6 was stop looking for magic bullets.
Okay, so what was number 5?
Always look for where you can create the highest level of profit and do more of that. Look for where you create the lowest level of profit and do less of that.
Okay, I got that too. Oh, well. Okay.
All right, there we
Robert,
go. Yeah.
is it legal to purchase your own listing before it goes expired and you would get 2 commissions?
So if you're the real estate agent, you purchase the house.
Yeah, you have a listing before it goes expired, you just buy it yourself and you would get 2
Yeah,
commissions.
as long as you're in agreement with the seller. Everything's legal as long as there's proper disclosure. I mean, there's advertisements out that people advertise that all the time. Also, if I can't sell your house, I'll buy it. Right? People advertise that all the time. You just got to make sure it's totally disclosed. So if you have a listing and it's not and no one's selling it, you go to the seller and say, hey, look, I have a solution for you. I'll buy the property. Now the seller could say, F you. I'm just going to go relist with another agent, or they could say, okay, well, let's go with it. So everything's legal as long as it's disclosed. But you just want to make sure that before you do anything like that, you explain to the seller all of the things you did to try to help them sell the property. Because what you don't want to have happen is them come back to you years later and say, you know what, I think this was fraudulent. He never tried to actually sell my house. This was a scam to begin with. You don't want that. Even if they can't prove it, you just don't want to deal with that. So just make sure you're tracking all the stuff. They're updated on all the stuff that you've done to try to sell the house and say, look, we've had all these eyes and ears on it. We've done all these activities. It doesn't seem like the general public wants to buy it. So I have a solution for you. But yeah, people advertise that they'll buy the house if they can't sell it.
Okay.
There you go. All right, good stuff. All right, everybody. I gotta jump to more meetings here in Covina, but hopefully you got something out of that. Other than that, we got open mic going on this afternoon, and then Cindy's got a class at 3:30, Prop 19, whatever that is. All right, everybody, good stuff. Keep up the good work. Let's go make it happen.